Hello and welcome back to the FPL YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to cover the best transfers for game week 2. In the video we're going to cover 2 players you should be looking to buy, 2 you should be looking to sell, 2 you should be looking to avoid, and at the end we're going to cover 2 cheeky differentials who could massively help you boost your rank. If you do enjoy the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe as we're trying to hit 500 subs before the end of August. If we can do that, that would be absolutely amazing. It's a big goal that I've set myself, but I do believe that we can do it, and we can only do it with your help. So if you do enjoy the content, like it, comment and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into my transfer targets for game week 2. And the first transfer target for game week 2, my first buy, is of course Erling Haaland. What a wonderful Premier League debut he had. I was a little bit concerned with the way West Ham kind of lined up in that deep defensive line, but his pace, his movement, honestly, it was an absolute dream to watch. Took the penalty really well for the first goal, and then his second goal, that burst of pace, absolutely explosive. He's going to be an animal in the Premier League. Bournemouth up next, Newcastle after, and Crystal Palace. I fear for their defences, especially if anyone tries and plays a high line against them. There's a question mark of whether or not he is on penalties. Obviously took the penalty today, but he won it, and Mahrez wasn't on the pitch, so maybe, I don't know if he's on penalties. It's still a little bit uncertain, but that was definitely a good indication today, especially with him scoring it as well. Easy captaincy option as well for game week 2 against Bournemouth. I fear for their back line. Easy transfer as well if you have Harry Kane. If you don't already have him in your side, I would suggest getting on it early, as there is potential for a massive price rise after tonight's performance. But yeah, are you looking at bringing Haaland in for your game week 2 team? Let me know down in the comments below. But let's move on to my second buy. And continuing with the striker theme, we move to NUNEZ from Liverpool, another player who absolutely revolutionised the game for them against Fulham. Really pulled them out the bag with his goal and an assist. Had a wonderful Premier League debut as well, coming off the bench, and he looked absolutely fantastic. I think David Vianic's tweet about him summed it up perfectly. He's a crossover between Marouane Chamakh and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. A wonderful performance from him, getting that goal and assist, and he massively improved Salah's game as well. It looked like them two had a real telepathic connection during the game. I like Crystal Palace at home as well for Liverpool as a next fixture. I don't think Crystal Palace are an easy walkover team. I thought they showed some good defensive resiliency against Arsenal, but I do believe Liverpool at home is kind of a little bit of a formidable victory for them. NUNEZ as well, I think, has done enough to earn himself a place. With this one, I would just hold fire just in case Klopp comes out and says that he's potentially not ready again. But after that performance, for me, he's got to be starting. Good long-term fixtures as well for Liverpool. Man United away, shouldn't be a red, should it? Especially after today. Bournemouth at home, Newcastle at home, Everton away, Wolves at home, and then Chelsea away in game week 8. But a wonderful player. The big problem for me is kind of getting this man into my team. I have Robertson. A lot of people have Robertson or Diaz, and it's kind of, what do we do? Personally, I'm going to wait till just after the Man United fixture, potentially on game week 3 deadline, maybe switch around my team. Maybe at that point I kind of know who the Spurs defender is, and then I can potentially switch that way. But he's a wonderful player, and I do believe forwards are definitely going to be an option this year, especially the way these two have started this season. They could be absolutely electric, putting up unbelievable numbers. Are you convinced by NUNEZ? Are you going to put him in your team? I think the time is probably now, especially with that 9 million price tag. But how are you going to rejig it? That is the big question. Let me know. Are you taking a punt on any of the 2 transfers that I've suggested? But let's move on to some sells. And my first sell of today's video is ODEGAARD. Yeah, he's just not a great FPL asset, is he? Especially at the 6.5 million price point. Martinelli had a wonderful, wonderful game against Crystal Palace and could have easily scored 2. I think if you don't have any other major transfer kind of concerns within your side, I think the smart move would be to drop Odegaard down to Martinelli, save that extra 0.5 million. As you can see from his game week 1 stats, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 big chances created, an XG of 0.1 and an expected assist, of 0. Absolutely not what you want to see from your FPL asset. 14.2% owned as well. He is a very nailed player, especially picking up the captaincy, but he's just not a good FPL asset. I think there are better options at that price point, especially when you want to look at Arsenal's fixtures as well. Keeping with Martinelli, keeping with the Arsenal squad is a very good suggestion. Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, Aston Villa, really, really good next few fixtures. So like I said, if you have other concerns within your team, then deal with them first, because Odegaard does have nice fixtures and potentially could return in one of them. But I do believe if you don't have any other concerns, the easy thing to do is switch down to Martinelli. But let me know, have you got Odegaard in your team? What are you planning on doing it with him? Let's move on to my second sell of the video. My next sell is Bruno Guimaraes, a player that I got a lot of stick from in pre-season for not including in my drafts, especially one guy who said that he was going to come back in game week 2 in my comments section and say, you know, Bruno scored, didn't he? It didn't go well, mate. It didn't go well, did it? It's not looking good for you. Yeah, it wasn't. It was a good performance by Bruno against Nottingham Forest, but not in terms of FPL. Playing the deeper of the midfield three, kind of within that central role. He was playing some really defense, kind of splitting passes at times, but it's just not what we want to see for a £6 million FPL asset. Expected goals 0.03, expected assists 0.26. Not really what we want to see. The next 2 fixtures I believe are quite hard. Brighton off the back of a Manchester United victory, and Brighton are a very, very good team at the Amex as well. And then Manchester City at home, another difficult fixture for the Magpies. I do believe that I think 2% of people have already sold Bruno, so you might want to potentially look at doing this one quite quick in case his price does decrease. But he is my second sell of the video. Let's move on to some avoids. And my first avoid of the video is Ryan Sessegnon, off the back of a wonderful performance against Southampton where he scored and potentially could have got a goal or an assist. Another one, I can't remember which one was ruled out. But yeah, a wonderful performance from him. It's a shame Spurs couldn't keep the clean sheet. I do believe a lot more people would have potentially been bringing this man in. But I have put him in the avoid category, down to the fact that they take on Chelsea in game week 2 and down to the fact that we're not sure who the Spurs fullbacks are at the moment. You've got Perisic on this side, and the same goes for Emerson Royal as well. You've got Doherty. He had a wonderful performance as well. Emerson Royal with a goal and assist. Both these players I would avoid at the moment. When we know kind of more information, who kind of the starters are within this wing-back position, absolute goldmine. But at this point in time, we don't really know. I think this one is a huge, huge risk if you want to take it. Only 4.5 million, so could be worth a little bit of a gamble because there's plenty of players around that price point. But do you really want to be taking a gamble this early on in the season with potentially limited upside? I don't think so. I think I'm just going to wait personally and kind of see who the Spurs fullbacks are, who are the more nailed ones for the Premier League games, and kind of what sort of minutes are they making. Obviously, Perisic came off the bench as well, but it is very encouraging for us to own Spurs defenders. It's just finding the right one at the moment, and I do believe you should be avoiding Sessegnon and Emerson Royal at the moment. But let's move on to our next avoid. And my second avoid for today's video is Lloyd Kelly. Now, is Lloyd Kelly ever going to get 12 points again in FPL? Probably not. But it hasn't stopped 9,000 managers already transferring this man in, which is absolutely delusional from a lot of them. Obviously, Bournemouth with a surprise victory over Aston Villa in game week 1 and a surprise assist for Lloyd Kelly as well with 0.06 expected assist for his assist that he did get. Bournemouth's fixtures as well coming up are absolutely dreadful, probably three of the worst that you could hope for. Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool away. But, like, honestly, if Bournemouth keep a clean sheet in any of them, massive achievement to them. Lloyd Kelly as well at 4.5 million. He's just not worth it. There are plenty of other players who are going to do well. If you have already bought Lloyd Kelly in your team, then number one, you should be subscribing to this channel, because we're going to help you make better transfer decisions, because you should be avoiding players like this. He's never going to score 12 points again. It's an easy avoid for game week 1. I'm honestly shocked that 9,000 people have already bought him in. Absolutely baffles my mind. Poor fixtures. He's never going to do that again. So an easy avoid for me. But let's move on to our differentials for today's video. And my first differential is Ivan Toney, a wonderful, wonderful player. Scored as well on opening weekend for Brentford. Of course he did. It's Ivan Toney. He's a wonderful player, like I said. Could have easily got 2 goals today, and is Brentford just main man. He's on penalties as well. One of the best penalty takers in world football at the moment, with his little kind of stuttered kind of run up that he takes. It's honestly wonderful, wonderful player to watch, and could be a massive differential for the next upcoming game weeks. I personally believe, and I'm going to put this out there, he could be 3rd, 4th or 5th highest scoring forward after the next kind of 5 to 6 game weeks, with the fixtures coming up. Manchester United at home in game week 2, Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace, Leeds and Southampton. Some honestly appetising fixtures in there for Ivan Toney. Brentford fully play to his strengths, and he is their key danger man. Also on penalties as well, real no-brainer. Obviously the Manchester United fixture is the only kind of blip within there, but after United's performance against Brighton today, it would be no shock to me to see Brentford at least score 1, and the man I imagine would do that would be Ivan Toney, especially if they get a penalty as well. Easy pickings. Let me know, have I convinced you to potentially take a look or even a punt on Ivan Toney? He's not a player who I can personally fit in my own team, but with them amazing fixtures coming up, I definitely think it's potentially having a look at Ivan Toney or any other Brentford players. But let's move on to the last player of today's video and the last differential for this video. And the final player for today's video is Brenden Aaronson. Had a wonderful, wonderful performance against Wolves. Didn't come away with any attacking returns in the end, as his assist was kind of taken away from him by the FPL Twitter admins. And yeah, it was a good performance. He's a very, very direct player. Got man of the match as well from Leeds fans on their kind of like website voting thing, which is no surprise. Wonderful player, like I said, direct, full of pace and energy. And Leeds have some amazing, amazing fixtures coming up. Southampton away in game week 2. They didn't look the best against Spurs, look very leaky at the back, and I definitely could see Leeds at least scoring 1 and Brenden Aaronson being involved in that. Obviously as well, the Chelsea game, not the best, but you could easily bench him for that. But then after that, Brighton, Everton, Brentford and Nottingham Forest. What a run. Obviously a lot of people are potentially going to look to shift on the likes of Neto, Bailey, not Dewsbury Hall because he scored, but Ramsey, kind of players all around this similar price point who blanked in game week 1, and Brenden Aaronson could be a nice switch of enablers. Personally, I've been privileged enough to go and see him in person. I went to the Cagliari friendly last weekend, and he was a wonderful player to watch. Got 3 assists in that game and was just absolutely mesmerizing at times. Honestly, a brilliant player. I know FPL Raptor has been singing this man's praises as well. I did it last week when I went to the Leeds friendly as well. Wonderful player. Very unlucky not to come away with assist in game week 1. I think if he had done that, a lot more people would have potentially been taking a look at him. I think he's flying quite low under the radar at the moment, but I do believe he's due for an explosive week in FPL. Let me know, have I convinced you to potentially take a punt on any of these differentials? Have I got all the other kind of players for targeting or selling right? Let me know down in the comments below. I've hoped you had a good game week 1. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, comment and subscribe to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the best of luck for game week 2. Thank you very much for watching.